All right, so we are recording this morning. We're going to be recording off and on, turning it on and off because we do have some content sometimes that we share that YouTube doesn't allow us to post or to share on our channels anyway. So we're gonna probably on and off, but anyway, we just ask you to keep your phone silenced. But if you have anything to say, you know, we can definitely receive your sharing and your discussions this morning as well. So again, welcome to Sunday Morning Spiritual Celebration, Team Conscious Creators. We do this every Sunday morning at 11 o'clock for about an hour, a little bit, sometimes a little bit more than an hour or somewhere around there. But this morning, again, we're going to be talking about, well, the topic of today's message is, do you believe what God says about you? Yeah, that's what we're going to be reminding you that we are on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, and I think that's all we're on right now. So if you have not subscribed to our presence on those venues, please do so. You can find Team Conscious Creators on YouTube, and we ask that you subscribe to us and share the content, share your content. Share the contents with you. Anyway, I got another message here. I'm just gonna. Oops, let's put that up. Yeah, share your content with us. Share the content with your network, your Facebook and YouTube friends and family, especially if there's something that we're sharing that if it affects you or if it stirs you, it definitely will come to stir and share someone else. So I'm going to ask you to subscribe to our channel. You'll find the YouTube channel, Team Conscious. You'll find us there. You'll also find us Facebook. And I think somebody's not muted because I'm hearing the background. If you haven't muted, I don't know if I can mute you, but if you haven't, just got to ask you to mute yourselves this morning. Anyway, so here we are this morning. We are here to talk about what God says about us. That's what we're going to be doing today. You know, I always like to start off with a affirmation. Every Sunday we start it with an affirmation, and that affirmation, I hope you can carry it with you during your week to come, and that you will be reminded of today, what we talked about today, our discussions today, but will also comfort you and give you some inspiration and some motivation to remind you of who you are. And today the affirmation is simply, I believe that I am. Simple as that. I believe that I am. You know, I've talked quite a bit over the year or so, sharing what I am, that I am truly is and truly mean. And we're going to touch on it a little bit today, but let me just remind you of this. There is not very many things that you say about yourself that you don't introduce it with the words, I am. I am Jean. I am mom. I am going to do this. I am having a great day. I am is how we introduce what's going on in our lives, who we are, what we are. And it also, I'm going to tell you, it also reminds you who you are, because the great I am gave us permission, authorized us to use God's great name. You remember in the story of Moses, and he had to go and meet the mean old Pharaoh and who had captured all of his people. He had to remind him, he had to tell him, oh, who sent me to do this? Who sent me to tell you to free my people? And God said to tell them, I am sent you. So I am sent you too. He gave each one of us his favorites. All of us who are his favorites. He gave each one of us authorization and permission to use that name, And sometimes we wear it out. And sometimes, I'm going to tell you, sometimes we use that name in, in ways that's really not amplifying or signifying or representing or symbolizing who God is and who we are. So we have to be cautious about what we say after I am. I am. And I always put it this way, because I find myself at fault too. I always look at it this way. I always look at it like, whatever I say after I am, I want it. I desire it. Something that I want to have in my life. Sometimes I'll say, I'm so sick and tired of what I don't want that. I do not want that. So I want to snatch that back and say, no, that's not that. That's not what it is all about. So that's the affirmation for today and the week to come, and hopefully it will say something today that will spark you or yeah, give you a spark or give you a zap when you're saying something after those awesome, powerful words, I am. After you say I am, it'll shock you. It'll wake you up if you are speaking something other than what God says about you. If we're going to repeat anybody, let's repeat somebody that knows something. And we know that our creator does. Our creator knows exactly who we are. Exactly who we are. So the affirmation for today is I am, I believe that I am. I believe that I am. So that's the word for today. And remember that we can't do, we can't be, we can't have what we don't believe. So just know what you believe, especially when you're talking about yourself. Talking about I am. Know that you believe what you're saying, all right? Because when you're talking to yourself, we do that all the time. We talk to ourselves. We're listening. A part of us is always listening. Part of us is always listening. So that's the word for the day. That's the word for the week. I believe that I am. And it comes from John chapter 8:24. And actually, it's a story. It was part of a discussion that Jesus, the Christ, was having with his disciples. And he said something to them to the effect that you're from above, you're from beneath, but I am, it's from above. That's how the story went. He was talking about telling them who they were and who he was when he was kind of discussing with them the word I am, or those words I am. And he said, you are from beneath. I am is from above. And he went on to say, he says, I am is not of this world, not of this world that you are residing and having your presence in. The I am is not from there. It doesn't originate there. Originate from above, it says. And he went on to say, to tell them that, and this was heavy. This was really heavy when he went on to talk. And Jesus talked a lot of heavy stuff, and they were like scratching their heads trying to figure out what he was talking about. But he went on to say that you shall die in your sin. And they probably wondered, what is he talking about? You're going to die in your sin. But he went on to clarify that because he saw that they were wondering about it. So he said, he went on to say, unless he went on to tell them this, unless they believe that those two words, that I am, those two words, that they too would die in sin. They would die in sin if they didn't believe those two powerful, creative, authorized words for the name of God, I am. So Jesus was really imploring them, almost begging them to believe in those words, I am, and to understand how mighty and powerful they are. And, I think sometimes when I'm sharing things like messages or things that I'm sharing with folk, even remembering myself, I'm trying to understand and be clear on exactly what it is I'm trying to get across, what I'm trying to express. And I can imagine that those disciples, they were scratching their head and they're trying to figure out, what's he talking about? You're gonna you're gonna die in sin and if we don't believe in I am and who is I am, and is he talking about himself? If I don't believe, of course we believe in you, Jesus. You're our teacher. We but he was going beyond that. He wasn't talking about the flesh and blood. He wasn't talking about the Son of Man part of him. He was talking about that part of him, that I am part of him, that life part of him that wasn't from this world, but was from above and beyond this world. That's what he was trying to get across to them. So he loved them so much that he wanted them to understand. So he just wouldn't let it go until he finally said to them, when you have lifted up the Son of Man, and basically what he was saying in that, he was saying, when you have come to understand, stand on something and, standing on that understanding, when you have lifted up that understanding, he said, truly understanding who the Son of Man is and was, then you shall truly know the I am. And that is the name and the power and the creative wisdom. It's a life. It's that life that's in each one of us that gives us motivation, give us mobility, gives us the power to create, the power to have life, the power to do. Remember, we were created in the image of that great name, I am. And we were given and endowed with all the powers of that great name, I am. So that's what Jesus was trying to get across. And I get so, just so, intense myself sometimes when I'm trying to explain that I'm not talking about your flesh and blood. I'm not talking about what Gene can do, because Gene cannot do anything without the all powerful name of I am. Gene, myself, I'm from here. I'm from this world. I was born of a woman and years ago. And that me cannot do anything beyond what this physical can do. But the life in me can, and I raise up that life in me, and I understand and I truly believe in that life in me, then I can do all things because that life in me has given me the power to do all things. And that, you know what? And that life is in all of us. It's just like Jesus was trying to help his disciples understand that I am is you. It's in you too. It's in your life. That life is in you as well as in me. And you look at me, and Jesus says, you look at me like I'm the only one. I'm not the only one. He was trying to get across. It's all of us. All of us is that I am. All of us are. So use that name, use that introduction to whatever it is that you're getting ready to talk about yourself. Use it with wisdom and use it with a knowing, a true belief of what is packed behind that. Those two simple words, I am. It's going to be almost my message. I'm just about just getting over. Larry kind of texted me, and he said that he is busy today with a call from Japan. His daughter's in Japan, and so he's not going to be joining us today. And I am not sure if well, I can. I think I can probably do that. I can give you an opportunity to meditate. But what I'm going to do this morning is I want you to meditate on. Going to ask you to meditate on I am. I want you to meditate on I am, but I want you to think about it as you're meditating on it, separate from Jean or separate from Corone or separate from the team members, separate from Rome. I want you to look at I am as a just observe it while you're silently meditating. I'm going to play a little song. I'm going to shut off the recording in just a minute. I'm going to play a song by Shane and Shane, and I think the title is I Will Wait for You. I'm going to play a little bit of that this morning, and I can play it. I think I can. Yes. I'm going to play a little bit of that this morning, and after it finishes, I'm going to leave, just leave it silent for a couple of minutes to allow you to think about, meditate on I am versus whoever you call yourself, whoever we call you. I want you to look at them as two different identities. Because when God sees us, he knows, he sees the flesh, he sees what we are in the natural and the physical, because he created all of this. But he can look right through that physical body, that mind, that mentality, those emotions, all that stuff that makes up us. God can look right through it to see that piece of him that he embedded in us, long before we were even thought of by our parents and by each other. So I'm going to play a little bit of this by Shane and Shane. It's called I Am Waiting. After that, I'll give you a few minutes to meditate. And then we'll go from there. Okay? So I am going to share my screen with you.